Days of Our Lives spoilers EJ's divorce heartache. Nicole ends marriage over Jude's secret. Days of Our Lives recapitulate Thursday, May 9, Xander rejects Mama. Maggie's hidden ISA device. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. After watching these videos, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that EJ DeMuro will meet with Sloan Peterson. Brady again during the week of May 13 to 17. Sloan told EJ about Jude Brady's real maternity, but EJ decided to confirm that by getting some new DNA results for himself. That led to a bit of a close call since Nicole DeMuro eavesdropped EJ yelling about those results over the phone, but he managed to cover his tracks. When EJ reconvenes with Sloan, he'll be forced to admit that she was right about Eric Brady being Jude's natural father. EJ will also feel like Sloan was right about it being in both their stylish interests to keep this secret under wraps. Still, Days spoilers allude that EJ will inescapably have to pay the price for his silence. This is still Nicole's cherished little boy, the one she mourned and so desperately wanted to raise. It's possibly cruel for EJ to sit on this stunner just because he thinks Nicole will reunite with Eric. Indeed, if that reunion vaticination is right, Nicole deserves to know the verity about the baby she brought into the world. Days of Our Lives suckers no secrets have a way of coming out in Salem. So Days spoilers say EJ's in for a rude awakening when Nicole learns the real story anyway. No matter how Nicole finds out Jude is her son, EJ's going to be in serious trouble for not coming clean right down. Indeed, if EJ ultimately admits Jude is the baby Nicole allowed she lost, that concession may come too late. Nicole should still end up furious with EJ for the detention and rip into him as a result. Of course, there'll be indeed further Days drama if someone other than EJ tells Nicole first. It can be Leo Stark or another character who discovers the Jude news in the coming weeks. Whatever the case, Nicole seems poised to leave EJ over all this. EJ's decision to join the secret circle is clearly grounds for divorce, so he'll have to face the end of his marriage soon enough. Days of Our Lives spoilers say Nicole will eventually get updates on Jude's true lineage and discover EJ hid it from her, so don't miss the fallout. Days of Our Lives recapitulate Thursday, May 9, Xander rejects Mama. Maggie's hidden ISA device. Days of Our Lives spoilers recap for Thursday, May 9, reveals that Harris Michaels and Ava Vitali showed up at the DeMuro manse, where they induced Stefan DeMuro to back up Harris' story. Harris wanted Ava left out of the Black Book drama, so the plan was to act like Stefan stumbled upon the book at the bistro and handed it over to Harris because he was operative. Stefan got updates on the blood on the Black Book, which Harris was having anatomized, and was on board with helping to take Clyde Weston down. After Harris delivered the book to Rafe Hernandez and Jada Hunter at the Salem PD, he let Ava know they were relatively interested. Harris was hopeful about his Navy SEAL chum decrypting the book and helping him uncover Clyde's position, so he had to take a trip to help with the platoon he put together. Ava made love to Harris ahead of his flight and got him to promise he'd be back soon. Once Ava and Harris pushed each other to be careful, Harris assured Ava that their plan to stop Clyde would work. At home on Thursday's Days occasion, Xander Cook gave Sarah Horton a special mug for Mother's Day and pretended Victoria Horton. Cook picked it out. Sarah brought up Xander's own mama and wondered if he'd reached out to her. Xander didn't want to talk about his mom, but Sarah allowed it was weird that she'd indeed spoken to her on the phone. Although Sarah felt it'd be nice for Victoria to get to know both of her grandmothers, Xander dissented and pushed her to let this go. Maggie Kyriakis was the only grandmother Victoria demanded in Xander's opinion since he easily had issues with his mama. After Xander suggested about a plan to see if Stefan framed him for firing at Harris, he headed to the DeMuro manse. Stefan played dumb, but Xander tricked him by mentioning the kingly sum that was deposited into his account during the frame-up. Once Stefan said he'd hardly call 50000 princely. Xander noted that he mentioned the quantum. Although Stefan tried to act like EJ DeMuro must have told him, Xander was more convinced than ever that Stefan framed him and pledged to make him pay. Coming on Thursday's Days occasion, Marlena Evans called Maggie and asked if she could come over to the townhouse to bandy her marriage to Konstantin Melaunis. Once Maggie took off, Konstantin showed up at Sarah's door and gushed over how awful it was to have her blessing. Sarah sounded a bit cautious, but she stood by that blessing as long as Konstantin promised not to hurt Maggie. Konstantin swore that he wouldn't, but Sarah refocused out that Konstantin was standing in the way of Maggie chancing real love again. Still, Konstantin acted like their fellowship was worth a lot and did his stylish to assure Sarah. Latterly, Xander met back over with Sarah and blustered about Stefan's guilt being written all over his face. Sarah wondered if perhaps Xander should just let this go, but Xander refused to do that. Sarah at least wanted Xander to be careful and not do anything Gadarene. Xander promised he wouldn't peril their family and let anyone keep them piecemeal, but Sarah looked uneasy. Back at the Dimera Man's on Thursday's Days of Our Lives show, Stefan bothered about Xander's trouble before answering a phone call from Gabby Hernandez, Dimera in captivity. Stefan assured Gabby that he'd come visit, but he refocused out that he'd been busy trying to find substantiation to clear her. Once Stefan claimed he'd indeed find it, he assured Gabby that they'd be together ever. At Marlena and John Black's townhouse, Maggie arrived to find them staying for her with Steve Johnson. Since Maggie assumed this was a Konstantin intervention, she didn't want to hear the same old complaints about him. Maggie started to leave, but Marlena, John and Steve stopped her with the story of the Abbey card, John's swaying and how he wisecracked Konstantin. John explained that he beat the programming and that he was of sound mind when Konstantin told the pawn to steal the inked prenup. Maggie was affrighted to learn Konstantin pushed John to take the prenup out of the safe so he could burn it. John handed over the real prenup since he took it out of the safe beforehand. Maggie realized Konstantin's plan was to do down with her and take Victor Kyriakis' fortune, so she made it clear that he'd meddled with the wrong redhead. Steve refocused out that Konstantin hadn't committed a crime yet, but the thing was to get him to commit one and nail him with it. Until also, Maggie had to pretend everything was fine, so she said she could. John gave Maggie a Bitsy cross charm to wear on a cuff or choker at all times. It contained a Bitsy ISA device that could warn John or Steve to come help her if she demanded them. Maggie also agreed to let them track her phone and was committed to satisfying Konstantin that everything was normal in the meantime. Once Maggie headed home on Thursday's day's occasion, John, Steve, and Marlena all agreed that Konstantin couldn't go after Maggie on their watch. Maggie made it back to the Kyriakis Man's and suggested about her informational converse with Marlena. Konstantin could only imagine the ideas that Marlena had been proposing, so a smiling Maggie suggested it be a marriage to flashback. Days of Our Lives spoilers say Konstantin and Maggie's big day will come with some stunning news, so we'll bring you prognostications on all the chaos. Thanks for watching these videos. Please hit the subscribe button for more updated news.